Okay, so hi to everyone, this is Phil the Dark and welcome to movie review. It's gonna be cringe, but I'm gonna try my best. So, I talk about The Last Jedi in a lot of interstate videos, or two or three, so I was thinking of to actually create a separate video about it because as you can see in my other Star Wars videos, I actually care about Star Wars. So, I think this is clear that, I hope this is clear for you. So I'm gonna start quickly. So before you say anything, I like the originals and the prequels equally. So I'm gonna explain it later why, and I understand the what why people hate each of them. Yes, even the originals have guys who dislike them, and actually there are issues with the originals. There are issues with the prequels. That's clear. There are issues with Rogue One also with TFA and The Last Jedi. But the difference is that the plot holes in the originals can be okay, not ignored, like ignored, because there's a few of. Okay, this is not the best way to put it, but um, okay, let's talk about that later. So let's talk about at the end of this before I forget. So originals, I'm gonna write it here. Prequels. So before I forget about it, so Rogue One, TFA, Last Jedi. So why is the Last Jedi a bad movie? So I'm gonna use Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy, and even at some sort of caricature story to and maybe X-Wing Alliance as well, because those stories are way much more polished and better, and there's a lot more character development than actually these two new movies. So I'm gonna talk about TFA and The Last Jedi also, because and the sequel trilogy overall. So, but yeah, the video title is gonna be Why The Last Jedi is a Bad Movie. You need to always consider a trilogy altogether. So I don't think it's a good idea to consider a movie alone. So you need to consider both if there is any, of course. So if you remember the Jedi Outcast, so I'm gonna go to point one already. It makes no sense the Jedi Academy of Luke gets destroyed. By the way, this post, I've already posted it to, well, I posted this text file to one of the YouTube reviews. I watched a lot of friends' reviews, but not all of them goes to the plot points in details as I want to. So, so yeah, I would like, just to clarify, so I would like to avoid the political stuff, but I'm gonna also mention it, so the politics because I don't think Disney cares about politics and agendas. What they care about is this. So that's the issue. And there's also nothing wrong with caring about this. But the problem is because every filmmaker gets money. The problem is that this is the first thing that they care about. So okay, that's weird. Yeah. So yeah, and story comes second. So that's the issue. So, I'm not gonna go through the full TFA and The Last Jedi, The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. Just would like to clarify points that I think makes no sense. The full sequel trilogy makes no sense. So, and I think the prequels, even Rogue One, and the originals are way much better than in almost every aspect than the new sequel trilogy. Many people say that prequels are worse compared to the sequel trilogy. Now, if you write it down to the comments, I think I will have the argument for you to write. So I will have the argument for you to write because the prequels are actually Star Wars. So yeah. Okay, so let's begin. So it makes no sense that the Jedi Academy of Luke gets destroyed. That's entirely true. If you remember Jedi Outcast, so if you remember Jedi Outcast, Luke's academy, so was on Yavin 4. There were New Republic troops defending it. There were ships defending it. So it completely makes no sense that Luke's Jedi Order get destroyed. At least explain how it got destroyed. So, and it should be given a very very valid reason, because if it really happens, then it must be something which that's also interesting. So if that really happened, there should be a very very valid reasoning for that, because if you remember Jedi Outcast the game, so if you watch my videos, Destin actually sent like hundreds of dark side users and Imperial troops to actually take the academy and destroy it. So he used the Reborns and Shadow Troopers. Reborns who drank from the Valley of the Jedi, and Shadow Troopers with artisan crystals and what Cortos's armor, which resists lightsabers. And even then, they couldn't take the academy thanks to our efforts with Kyle Katarn and the other Jedi. So it doesn't make sense for the Jedi Academy to get destroyed like this. If it gets bombarded, also it doesn't make sense that the survivors are nowhere, that they died. Because in Star Wars, so if we go through, so the New Republic didn't even protect it. This is again makes no sense. The students are supposed to be Jedi. They can't deal with the First Order troops. There's only Kylo Ren and Snoke, and I guess Kylo Ren was the one who, and the Knights of Ren who went to the Jedi Academy. Now, yeah, I actually got one more thing here that, yeah, this also makes no sense. So this, and also this, so nothing makes sense. So look at this. So not knowing in advance they're attacking in Star Wars, you actually have radars, advanced detection methods. If you remember Mysteries of the Sith, they detected those two asteroids. So why didn't they at least evacuate, or why didn't even have a shield? It totally makes no sense for the Jedi Academy to be destroyed at least in an easy way. Even in a hard, it would be hard. But yeah, why didn't the new Jedi? Okay, this is another topic. So this makes no sense, especially if Kylo Ren is shown to be that weak because he was supposed to defeat Luke and also the Jedi students. How come Luke couldn't defeat Kylo Ren? So it's here. If he gets beaten by random girl, Luke was supposed to be the most powerful Jedi, who was even more powerful than Yoda, who could manage to absorb Force lightning. Also, Luke was supposed to be someone who could not summon, but use also lightning in the EU, a special variant of lightning. So I also this doesn't make any sense that Luke gets defeated and he just goes to an island to die. It doesn't make sense for him to go to the island because there is no purpose. So that's if that was actually a rallying point of the survivors. Now that would make sense. That would definitely regroup until Rey comes. Until Rey comes to Luke. So there should be a purpose Rey, why the Force wants Rey to join Luke. So this again makes no sense for Rey to why is she interested in Luke. There was also no explanation for that because what she wanted is just to find her parents. So um, so yeah, it totally makes I don't see the sense in this sequel trilogy at all. So yeah, so that would have been very good to see Jedi survivors to regroup on that island at least. Why didn't they come up with something like this? I don't understand. So yeah, so the Jedi get rallied there from a lot of places, and it would have been nice to see like collect Jedi from various spaces which the First Order tactically attacks or something like that. So yeah, it just doesn't make any sense with this current storyline. So why didn't the Jedi Order get? So speaking of the destruction of the Jedi Order, why didn't Jedi Order get reformed? Introduce rules like allowing Jedi to marry and have families. That's something that Yoda, not Yoda, but Luke was supposed to be doing. So that's the first reason. The family aspect is the first reason that Luke managed to bring Vader back from the dark side. So Luke was the light in Vader's eyes. So that's why he came back to the from the dark side to the light side. So for the first place, so that this also makes no sense that Luke introduces the old Jedi ways. It's totally undermining and destroying his character. So and also the previous does everything. So the TFA has already done this at some point, but the last Jedi just put an fire on the oil. Okay, so yeah, let's go through this. So how can Kylo destroy Jedi Academy? We talked about it. If he gets beaten by random girl suddenly having the Force out of nowhere, Luke should beat Kylo in 1 second. If Kylo defeats Luke, then Luke is destroyed as a character. And that's what happened. He's destroyed as a character because he got defeated. Then Luke was not the most powerful Jedi, he was just a weak random noob, if I have to say something like that. So, weaker than the 3 Jedi who went with Mace Windu to actually face Palpatine. So, it doesn't make any sense. Even if Luke is old, like 70 or 60 years old, Yoda was 500 years old or like 480 years old or something like that. He still managed to put up a fight against Palpatine, who was also old. Remember, Palpatine was also old, um, more or less. Okay, so older than, and okay, I know that there was some like CGI way to make him flip when he was fighting Mace Windu, but I didn't that didn't annoy me so much compared to this storyline. So I would rather see Luke doing. Actually, he was shown to be doing movements like this at the end. You know, when he was dodging those in the end of the Last Jedi, when he was dodging those lightsaber things, lightsaber sweeps, or yeah, from Kylo Ren. So that's I also don't understand why Kylo hates Luke Skywalker so much. So yeah, there is no zero explanation for everything. It's just a random mishmash of everything. Okay, so that's okay. But after Singri getting the best of Luke Skywalker, okay, that basically when I saw this, so when I saw this, I was like totally heartbroken. Let's say so. How come she can get the best of Luke Skywalker? So and why Luke doesn't come up as a badass, and shows Rey some sort of you know who is so this totally undermined me what Star Wars. Okay, I almost got a bit emotional, but yeah, this doesn't make any sense. There is a fun made. Please check if you go to YouTube and just check Ray Luke training a fun movie, or I should actually place a link there. So in the video, if you watch that, I was expecting Luke to do something like that, at least even if it's more or less a parody. But that fan-made movie when Rey was training with Luke was way much better and more Star Wars than this whole scene. So I don't understand why Luke cannot. Luke is like a very old man who has no standards, who has no charisma. What happened to this man? So it makes no sense. And not just that Rey getting the best of Luke Skywalker, but he's supposed to teach her. And if Rey is angry, that means that she is tempted by the dark side. Luke should already notice this. So yeah, he is not a trainer, so it's not a teacher. So yeah, she should show to Rey um, that she's not ready for this, or to show her. Even if you watch the Zorro movie with Antonio Banderas, when he was taught by what's the name of it? Him, Dalavagna, or yeah. So I guess you know which movie I'm talking about. So Zorro, when he's being trained by um, yeah, I forgot. I think you know which movie I'm talking about. Where Kathleen Zeta-Jones is also acting. I was expecting something like that. So that Luke shows to Rey that she is just a kid and she's behaving like a kid, and she shouldn't be. So even if you check Jedi Academy, Jaden was yeah. So was already noticed by Kyle that the dark side is tempting him or her. So yeah. Well, this made me like this destroyed everything for me already. So because this is what I was waiting for as well. So this is something that no ranting video I think points out that that if you are teaching someone, you shouldn't let her control you. So you have to stand yourself there. So Okay, I guess you got anyone who knows what teaching is about, or you got taught by someone who actually has charisma, or not charisma, but determination, and you know this doesn't work. So in one of the ranting videos, there was a fact that the Republic knew that the Starkiller base was being built, but still one month for this month's Republic free just because to learn from the past mistakes. This makes no sense, especially if they know that the Starkiller base is being built. There's a First Order lurking there. Didn't they get reports from spies or anything? Yes, that's if you check the older Star Wars movies, you can hear that the spies or intelligence, or even in games, intelligence beliefs, etc., etc., etc. So yeah, so this makes no sense. Only if the how come the Jedi Academy can be destroyed? How come the First Order becomes so powerful? Yeah, it's the Republic doesn't really care. It's yeah, this is poor storytelling. So yeah, um, so I'm gonna go random parts of the movie, but yeah, we are gonna see. I try to make a connection, but yeah, so basically that this is definitely an issue. Um, that Rey is getting the best of Luke Skywalker. So going back to the training, the beginning of TFA was basically, I mean, the ending was basically, but the full movie as well was basically made pointless because Luke throws a lightsaber away. It's actually here somewhere. Yes, yeah, down below. That's one of that's basically the middle finger to Star Wars. So that basically means that okay, so if when Luke throws away Anakin's lightsaber, it's a family emblem. He should have respect of it. Plus, why would he throw it away? So just because that one MO kid went bad and for some unknown reason, even if you lost everything, even if you um, why would you come to this island and why would you do this? So, I, this is basically nonsense. So, okay, so and also race training. It takes 2 days and that's it. And she's already a qualified Jedi. Congratulations. She can levitate rocks. She can survive Snoke. She can uh, force pull everything. Yeah, nice fun. If there was actually a backstory, an explanation like she was in a Valley of the Jedi. Let's play something like this, because Karakatan was actually uh, that. So another idea is that if you check the Karakatan story, Kyle was disconnecting himself from the Force, ceased his connection with the Force. I don't know how he did that, but it would have been nice to see Luke to seize the connection with the from the Force. I will and regain it later somehow. Anyway, so if you check the Jedi Academy story, there is a scepter with which you can drain force and like push it into up to others, or use a place like the Valley of the Jedi. It would have been way much better story. I could see that Luke sees connection with the Force because he felt the temptation of the dark side as well after he lost everything. This would have made more sense as already. So I don't know why they couldn't come up with such story. So so race training also makes no sense. The vision. Okay, we're gonna go to the vision later on, and also it makes no sense that she leaves Luke behind. It's also that Luke doesn't come and help her personally and pulls up the X thing from the water, and it's like it would have been a nice parallel to the original trilogy, at least if it's a rehash. So yeah, it would have been more sense. So yeah, it's basically I just don't get it. So yeah, speaking of the ancient Jedi text, it also makes no reason for the Jedi to end. So just because one MO kid went, I've already stated this, went bad. So yeah, because he wants to kill him. If you in the Star Wars universe, if it's not for Luke, so he would have killed Darth Vader then. If it's definitely not Luke's character, so yeah, basically everything makes no sense. So yeah, if you if you have the like the tendency, not the tendency, but the lure to kill someone, that's the turn of the dark to the dark side. So Luke was actually pulled to the dark side, and also that wasn't the dark side was completely forgotten that you can easily turn to the dark side. Okay, so also this doesn't make any sense for Luke. Also, the way that he was shown there, his eyes. Oh my goodness, man! That's why didn't you show? Okay, there was actually a full scene to do this or to show this, but it makes no sense. So, uh, if this movie was a standalone movie, like a spin-off anthology movie, then I would accept it. But in terms of the Star Wars universe, if you try to kill someone, because Yoda said that the Force has to be used as a defense and not offense, yeah. So I start to get infuriated a bit, but yeah. So it makes no sense that Luke would try to attack and kill someone just because he went bad. Um, if that's completely out of Luke's character, he wouldn't be in such a situation already. So, and it's basically against everything that Star Wars stands for. So this also made me cringe in the when I was watching this movie. So, okay, let's go back to random plot points. Sorry. So, so it doesn't make any sense that Snoke gets killed off. Okay, so people were talking about that Yoda and Obi-Wan were also. I'm not sure if I mentioned this. I guess I did not. So people, Yoda and Obi-Wan were also hiding, but they had a purpose. Luke has zero purpose, just to die. Then why doesn't he? Why didn't he become Force Ghost later when the Academy got destroyed? It's why would he go to an island in the first place? you know, at least go back to the civilized world or yeah. So I don't know how anyone can accept it. Anyone who cares a bit about the story can accept this. I guess no, none. That's why the movie is 49% on Rotten Tomatoes. Hopefully, I didn't get into the issues into this movie, but already I think I said things which are like makes no sense. So okay, so Yoda had a purpose. Obi-Wan had a purpose. Yoda wanted to hide from the Emperor and also from Vader in Dagobah. Okay, because it was also Force Nexus, which basically a place of a great concentration of the Force, and he felt that Luke would eventually come. Obi-Wan. Okay, so I think he purposefully knew that Obi-Wan would train Luke. Okay, so you understand there's a purpose for Luke. There isn't any purpose, and for Obi-Wan the purpose was just to protect Luke until he's ready to be started to train with Yoda. Okay, so that makes more sense. There's a purpose, and also the full Empire was looking for them. So the full entire Empire army who has recently got to control of the galaxy, and they had a very vast, major army at that time. It's not so. They shouldn't have any reasons to stay there. So of course, they shouldn't. With Luke, it again. Yeah, sorry. So with Luke again, it makes no sense for him to hide from the First Order if the First Order is supposed to be weak again. So that's another thing. Why is this First Order so powerful? They are shown to be like 10 times more powerful than the Empire. They brought a Death Star, a major Mega Death Star, the Starkiller base, and they also bought a Mega Star Destroyer called Supremacy, which is like 10 times million faster, better, or I don't know. It's not even fast. So the Executor 3 times larger than the Executor, I think. It again doesn't make any sense how they have the resources. So there's no political um, like explanation, nothing. Why is nobody helping the First Order? Okay, let's get back to that later on. So I already went through a lot of things. Sorry, it's not jointed, but I think I just wanted to point you out that this full sequel trilogy makes absolutely no sense. So yeah, it doesn't make sense to Snoke to get killed. Of course, if he had been Siths who knew about the past events. So Snoke was supposed to be in TF. Basically, it feels like TFE doesn't, and that is true. That's true. According to this movie, TFE doesn't exist. Basically, it just starts from this, and that's it. So yeah. the movie didn't have a beginning, middle, and the end as one of the reviews. That's it. So yeah. So Snoke was set up as someone who knows about the events happened during Vader, Emperor, and Luke's confrontation. Now, how come he makes exactly the same mistakes? Basically, it's a stupid kind of storytelling again, and waste of character potential and everything. Because the reason for the full sequel trilogy to exist is basically Snoke, because he set up the First Order, and he's the reason for not Rey, but Ben to turn to the dark side. So again, you see, it makes no sense. How come the First Order can become so far? That's I've already asked. Because at least in X-Wing Alliance, if you remember, it is shown that the Empire had control of the Quad shipyards, for example. So I'm a hardcore, more or less. I'm not a hardcore, but I'm interested in the story of Star Wars deeply. So the Empire had a control of many shipyards, and they had the resources to build a Death Star. You can see convoys in the game. So these games are actually filling the plot holes well um, regarding the yeah, Return of the Jedi. So Snoke has been the reason the First Order exists, the reason for Ben Solo to turn to the dark side, and it's true. The reason for the whole sequel exists, as one of the reviews said it. So it totally makes no sense how build and get the Star Killer base, get a Mega Strategy. How come there's also no explanation who Snoke is? How come he can become so powerful with the Force? Again, that makes no sense. How come he is there? How come why he is there? Who is he? At least, so okay, the Emperor. If I come, the Emperor mystery. So let's talk about the Emperor. So that's what many people say about the Emperor was also a mystery. So the Emperor worked. So Emperor Palpatine worked in the Empire Strikes Back because he was meant to be mysterious. In the Return of the Jedi, he got more character development, and the prequels answered Palpatine. Okay, there isn't so much explanation where he did come from. He was raised. Yeah, that's going to be in Darth Plagueis. So that's why actually it would have been nice to have Snoke as Darth Plagueis. That would have tied every trilogies together. It's really a big disappointment. Very basically Star Wars is dead. So they could have made Star Wars one of the best franchises, and they just killed it off for profit. And that's basically the issue. There's nothing wrong with getting profit, but when quality is put aside instead of quantity or money, yeah, and that's an issue. So that's basically an issue. So passion should be still there. Okay, so otherwise Disney will just lose fans and even profit. So yeah, it doesn't make any sense again. So yeah, so if you remember, the Emperor worked in as a first moment. The Emperor's Mister worked in the Empire Strikes Back, and also Return of the Jedi got him more character development. Also, the prequels gave him a really good character development, and his turn to the dark side was also not explained, but it was explained by books. Okay, I can see that Snoke will be explained, but the issue is, that this sequel trilogy should be the prequel trilogy. So, we will have episodes 7, 8, 9, and there should be 10, 11, 12. This should be the prequel trilogy of the next upcoming, if there is, sequel trilogy. Okay, the second part of the second sequel trilogy. So, they should have fleshed out his character more. Definitely. So even if not his past, then at least his confrontation with Kylo train him, show him as a badass. So show him as someone powerful, but he's weak as hell. So that was some sort of Force lightning. I could see that in the Last Jedi. He showed us some Force lightning, but still he didn't show it off later on. It makes no sense. So that he didn't use it too. By the way, Force lightning there wasn't even actually in this movie. So in these movies, just a bit. So it doesn't make any sense for him not to use Force lightning to torture Rey. So anyway, okay, let's go. Let's continue. So with the Emperor, it actually worked, but yeah, I can see a point in that why his turn to the dark side was not properly fleshed out. Yeah, the prequels didn't do. Okay, there was yeah. It's because that the Sith, it's still not a complete story because they could have, so um, yeah, okay, that's actually a bit of good point, but still, as a story, that's actually a flaw in the prequel trilogy. There was no, okay, actually, Palpatine said something like, that about his master. That one sentence, Darth Plagueis device. Have you heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis device? That one is, I would say, enough for his character development to, uh, yeah, I think to keep his mystery. So I think they still did a okay job. But for Snoke, you get nothing basically. Raised in the shadows, or came from the shadows. That's nothing. Okay. So I hopefully you understand that. So yeah, first order resources. Snoke doesn't train Kylo and further. It makes no sense that he doesn't train him further because that was actually the end of TFA that he was supposed to train him. That was also thrown out of the window. Why Luke thinks the Jedi Order should end. I've explained it. Why he tries to kill Ben Solo just because sensitive dark inside but still the light side. Okay. Also, the way Luke behaves should pull him to the dark side, since being offensive is one way to turn to the dark side. That's it. Setting up backup plans in case something really happens. That's it. Leia's route to the dark side is completely abandoned. So she was shown to be really angry, and that should have been a point for her to get lured by the dark side. This was also abandoned because one time Luke senses the dark side in her. Also, by the way, the way they used dark and light, that's also felt complete of me because they use the word light and dark. But if you check the prequels and if you check the OGD, you always use light side, dark side. For me, it feels like there's light in. Okay, Luke started to use light a bit in the. There is good in him, but there is good in him that's different. There is light in him, there is good in him. So yeah, that's different still. So they should use there is dark side. I feel the dark side in you. That's what Yoda. That's what He says to you. Yeah. So when they said that there is dark in you, that felt a bit off for me. It didn't feel like Star Wars to me again. So yeah, that's light in you. It should be there. I feel the light side in you. I feel the dark side in you. Even if you check the game Jedi Academy, they say things like this, and I don't. There is nothing. No offense to George Lucas, but it was proven that others can actually make a very good Star Wars games, books, and even fan-made movies which still feel like Star Wars. So but of course, all credits to George to setting up this universe. Yeah, it's wonderful, definitely. So it's nothing. This wasn't um, um, offense to Lucas, but it's still it's still it's possible to create a good Star Wars game story. I think X-Wing Alliance they were created by Lucas Arts, so maybe Lucas was also part of that group. But yeah, um, the Force Unleashed, even that is looking much better or has a very good story. Starkiller and everything. Starkiller base was the name was also ripped off by Starkiller. Nice. Supremacy. I need to check if that's a rip off. So let's go back. Uh, yeah, so where is by the base? So completely abandoned by the way. That's a very big waste, very big waste. So even Snoke, it's here. Snoke doesn't try to turn her to the dark side. I know it's a rehash and a remake, but this is such a dumbed down story. Because even in the Star Wars games, the other games, this is a return emotion that if there's anger in you, you are lured to the dark. So this is not Star Wars. This is just a movie pretending to be Star Wars. And this is just 30% of the movie. It has just using hyperspace as a canon. I'm not going to tell you anything about it, plot hole, because that's that. Just use hypers. Um, yeah, rebel ships running out of fuel. When I heard that, oh my goodness, I just couldn't believe that. Okay, in uh, yeah, in Star Wars Jedi Knight there was actual fuel. Okay, fuel in the ships, but I'm not entirely sure about it. But still, this felt of they could have come up with another reason. So, for example, they could have used something like the shields are weakening or are weakened, or the engines will overload. That feels more like a space thing. Even if you check free space, you will my free space, my future free space videos, you will see that the beam cannon was overloaded. If they said something like this, that the ship systems will be overloaded, the engine will be overloaded, or that would have felt better. So Luke tossing his father's lightsaber family, and yeah, that's makes no sense. Wants to die on the island, then why did he create the map? Yeah, that's something I forgot. Why did he create the map? If he doesn't want to be found, he wants to die there. Does it make any sense? If I want to go to an island and I want to die alone myself, why would I create a map? It was made, but so there's a therefore was made. As far as I know, Ryan Johnson didn't even read and saw the ending of the Force Awakens, and even the full movie. Then uh, how do you want to make a movie? Well, you want to make money. That's the reason. That's the only reason I can see here. Why is Snoke afraid of Luke so much if he wants to die on an island? Why? Again, Snoke says to Rey that Luke will be found and you will give me the location of Luke Skywalker. Why? Actually, Snoke should be afraid of Rey instead of Luke. So, Rey getting 1 2 days training, so she is just a Jedi. No explanation why she can use it effectively still. Well, now if you come back to it, so Karakatan, he uses the Force. Okay, there's no explanation why he uses the Force in Jedi Knight. That's something I didn't understand either in the game in Jedi, but in Jedi Outcast, it is shown that he has been into the body of the Jedi, and that would have been perfect for Rey. That Luke as a backup, he put his doctor, that would make only sense, into the body of the Jedi, and that's how she has a connection to the. You can check what the body of the Jedi is, and to the Jedi Outcast videos, that would have made perfect sense in this movie. That the full and the map also. If Luke actually hid a map of the Valley of the Jedi or placed something like this, that would have made more perfect sense because that's what the First Order is looking for. They are looking for Luke because he knows the location of such powerful place. So the Valley of the Jedi was a place where the Sith, so dark side users and light side users, force power concentration was very high there because they died there during a war, in a war, and that's what Jarek wanted to get this power. This would have made more sense, such storyline for Kylo and Snoke to look for example. Okay, so and when Rey was born, um, and the Jedi Academy was destroyed, or something like that, Luke put her into the body of the Jedi so that she becomes a Jedi or something like that. So as a backup, or you know, so this would be more interesting. This would be way more interesting than just out of nowhere she's a Jedi. Yeah, Yoda summoning lightning as a Force ghost. When I saw that, I wanted to basically not. So I didn't watch this in the cinema, but when I saw this in the Last Jedi, I was about to just mentally have a blackout. This is a dark side power. This is a dark side power. Even if Luke can summon lightning as a light side power in the EU, um, that lightning shouldn't be used like offensively, just for defense. But what Yoda did is that he tried to destroy the books, which Rey stole, by the way, which is a dark side power. Yeah, so this totally makes no sense. Also, destroying Jedi books, which he spent his entire life. Totally. Yeah, destroying Star Wars basically. This thing means that, yeah. Snoke not trying to turn Rey to the dark side, not sensing her very soon as at least. Totally understand. At least if she is that powerful, why Snoke doesn't take advantage of it? Instead of Kylo. Or that would actually give Kylo sense to kill him, but by the way, also that also doesn't make sense that yeah, I already said that the, Snoke should have been should survive until episode 9 or 10, and Luke also should have survived until 9 and 10, and he should have died peacefully with happiness, happy ending, while Rey takes sorry, while Rey takes over the Jedi Academy or the Jedi. That would have made sense. So, learning about the ancient Sith artifacts, places like Moribund, Korriban, or the Valley of the Jedi, um, ancient Sith lords, this was the potential. So, yeah, Moribund was in Rebels or Clone Wars, I think, and Korriban was in the games. So, in Jedi Academy, it's basically the same. Yeah, actually, yeah, the Rebels and the Clone Wars, these actually capture the feeling of Star Wars. So, and maybe Rogue One. But this new sequel trilogy does not. Could go and go and on. The First Order, not trying to disable the capital ships, at least flank them or disable them. There is no sense for them to even kill them. It would make more sense that they capture the rebel leaders. So, yeah, didn't they try to disable them using iron cannons? They constantly bombard them, so why the shield? How come the shield can last so long? The New Republic not trying to ask for help from civilized worlds who should be alerted by the First Order's presence, since they destroyed three or four planets. If you remember, to the rebels, there are actually many planets joined because of the Empire's tyranny. A lot of planets joined the rebel cause because they couldn't stand the Empire. So they were being bombarded by the Mega Star Destroyer ships. Yes. So how come the shield can last long for Super Star Destroyer? If you check the games, the the Golan based platform, the Golan platform didn't last for like 5 minutes until 5 minutes, you know. So it's completely makes no sense. So if you check the battle, even the battle scales, those are completely non-starter. The battle scales in the prequels are very much captivating and better and more polished and everything than the Last Jedi one. So Luke having a blue lightsaber instead of a green one at the final fight, this also made me emotional almost. So when I watched that, basically no sense. So this green lightsaber wasn't even shown. Destroying Anakin's lightsaber for no reason. Yes, they completely ripped off when she was when Rey was actually fighting Kylo Ren for the lightsaber. It completely got ripped off, and as far as I know, she took it. But how the lightsaber was recovered by Mas Kanata, Katana or whatever, Katana, no explanation. We get nothing basically. Remember in TFE Mouse said, it is a question for another time. Erasing the story of the lightsaber. Why does the lightsaber call to Rey? So now we are gonna go to Rey's vision. Erasing the story that was set up for no reason. Rey's vision in TFA, which also makes no sense now. Parents, by the way, it still makes no sense for her to have the Republic. She wanted to just find her parents and wanted to go back to Jakku. Placing a droid instead of a live person for sacrificing in the ship, or at least if someone wants to sacrifice instead, it should be Admiral Akbar and not that Admiral Holdo or whatever her name is. Soundtrack, it sucked, definitely. The TFA soundtrack I think was better because at least we had the Jedi steps. Snoke's theme was also really messed up in The Last Jedi. I really liked that theme. Also, The Last Jedi, I mean the Jedi steps. And the race team is good and Kylo's team is good. Yeah. So, but that's it. And maybe some rehashed force team. That's it. Why didn't they try to use like if you check, there is a mixed version of the Duel of the Fates. Very very good. I think I'm gonna place. So I'm gonna. So fun review link. I'm just gonna place them here. Duel of the Fates mix. I'm gonna place them to link in the video just for you to check it. Maybe I'm gonna put like maybe a Jedi Outcasts video also. Or, yeah, I don't know why they cannot use. If they really want to rehash something, why don't they use um, soundtracks like this just to, because that Duel of the Fates is sounding really new, more or less. So it has new parts, it has depth. I'm gonna place it because I really liked it. So I really like that, and I could have imagined that soundtrack to play when Kylo was fighting Ren. So or Ren, Rey. This fun, not fun review, but fun made video about Rey training Luke. It's a bit of parody, more or less, but this should have happened in the movie. So I'm gonna place them in. So okay, I've already talked about 40 minutes. I think this is gonna be 1 hour. So Leia flying. Okay, you can see a lot of reviews about this. This felt really off, and it also makes no sense. So for Leia to do something like this, by the way, Leia's arc was completely destroyed. She should be a Jedi as well. So and she should be with Luke. So and that's it. So totally makes no sense. Okay. This entire subplot makes no sense. Also, this should have been Lando, by the way. And yeah, saving animals, but they didn't save the kids. Also, the Master Codebreaker stuff. Also, Master Katana was shown for, and she was not shown anymore. R2D2 as well, Chewbacca as well, the Porgs. Okay, the Porgs were actually okay, but the old characters were, well, many characters were underused. Captain Phasma again, that's nothing. Yeah, and let's go back to Rey's vision. So Rey's vision in TFA said that it was a big concentration, or there was a big like reveal regarding her parents, and those scenes. Even those scenes didn't appear, and we could see that it was actually pretty good from J.J. Abrams. It's a rehash that past, future, and present were shown. So we could see the ending of TFA in her vision. It would have been nice to see these elements of the vision occurring in The Last Jedi. It would have been way much better. That would have been creative. So again, middle finger, totally on TFA. I really like that vision. So also the lightsaber calling to you, and everything makes no sense for Rey. So because it was she was supposed to be Skywalker, Luke Skywalker's daughter. So everything pointed to that. So I hope I don't have to detail that. So and people say that people say that this should be still father and mother reveal. Why do you care? Luke is dead, Han is dead, Leia is not going to be in the movie. Who cares who her parents are now? There is no connection. No, even if Luke comes back as a Force Ghost, there is no deep connection anymore. Nothing basically. No story, no arc. There should be a connection between two characters. It's makes no sense. It's not going to have the same impact. So yeah, so that's she should stay as a nobody. She should stay. She should be at this point. I would say she should be really child of the Force, like Anakin was. But we will see what happens. Luke doing this as okay. This was another thing that I almost felt like it's Spaceballs. So you know when he I'm not sure how to, when he touches his shoulder and does things like I just don't give a shit. I don't know how to say that to correctly in English, but he just mocks his shoulder like um, like I don't really care. That's completely not Star Wars either. You don't see anything like this in Star Wars. Star Wars is not about parodies. So yeah, that's something that I can understand why Mark Hamill said that that every decision which we virtually disagreed. I also disagree with virtually everything done in these two movies. In this movie, also in TFA, but there's a lot. But in this movie, it's almost everything. Okay, but humor, I think General Hux makes no sense. Forced zero explanation for everything. I don't know why I forced humor, zero explanation for everything. R2D2 suddenly wake up. Explanation. There is nothing. Again, basically it feels like I don't know what really Disney should do if they should put The Last Jedi and TFA as anthology movies. So TFA as a reboot and Last Jedi as anthology, and completely make episode 7 8 properly, or at least they canonize The Last Jedi, place it as an anthology movie, and create a proper sequel for The Force Awakens. So, because basically Star Wars has been destroyed now, so CPU's red arm makes no sense, which was yellow in one of the scenes in TFA. I noticed this in one of the reviews. Actually, they noticed this as well. Oh man, every decision Luke makes is also the not. That's correct. It's currently completely destroyed. Force projection. Now, force projection, we could see that in Mysteries of the Sith, that it's possible, but why drains you from the Force? Are you serious? This makes no sense. Why would light side powers drain your life? This is not a dark side power, this is a light side power. I totally don't understand. Who came up with this idea? Oh my goodness. That the force projection drains you. It's a dark side power. Force drain, if you check the games, it's dark side power. Now, it would have been nice to see something like that. For example, Kylo and Snoke captured some of the students and they drained their force essence. It would have been nice to see something like that. Really, but that force projection drains you the force. This makes Luke the most powerful Jedi for some people. Okay, when I heard that, I really just don't really. Better I don't want to say. I don't want to be offensive to anyone, but when I heard this or saw this, it feels like that nobody cares anymore about Star Wars, and I think that's what Disney tries to follow. Nobody cares about the mythology of Star Wars. It's just a random chat TV show, and that's it. Basically, that's how many people, yeah, try to think of it. Yeah, art is basically that. Let's say that really. I'm also not like a full artist, but this is why I like Star Wars, because of things like this. So, but why this? Why would this make Luke as the most powerful Jedi just because he force projected himself? I don't understand. Force does not make someone great. His actions. This is also present. So actions, morals, everything, character, charisma. This is what makes someone great. Look at Palpatine. Or look at Yoda. So they were powerful of the Force, but they were also challenging mentor figures. They had charisma. They had knowledge. They so okay. Luke is the weakest Jedi that I've ever seen, basically, in a Star Wars movie. Just think of any character which is like worse than Luke. Luke didn't even go against the Sith Lord in this movie. Okay, I mean, this movie made him look like that. Even those three Jedi Master which died against Palpatine, who died against Palpatine, they at least went against him. So, yeah, I don't know their names, but yeah, seriously, this made me really sad. So, Star Wars is done. Seriously, I'm not sure how. Yes, with the current canon, the old Jedi Order in the prequels are way more powerful than Luke ever was. That's it. Yes, the Jedi Order members. Yoda at least showed something. Love maximum dark side users could drain force and life in the U, but dying without any reason again. If he decided to help now, why didn't he stay alive? Why didn't he stay alive? Because, or at least go there physically. Uh, Makes no sense. Just with Rose, she just wanted to save Finn, but he sacrificed the lives of everyone else. Selfish. Why didn't he become Force Ghost when the Academy was just as Obi-Wan did? Yes, he actually Obi-Wan did become a Force Ghost before Darth Vader killed him. That made sense, just to give time, just a glimpse of time for Luke and others to escape from Vader. Okay, so this makes sense. So that makes sense. Luke has no point to be in trilogy at all, correct? You can basically cut off Luke and nothing would happen, really. The resistance will be destroyed maximum, but that's it. Nothing else. Yoda actually had a lot of role in the story. Since he didn't add anything to the legacy, basically failed his legacy, he did nothing extraordinary. He was just there for nostalgia reason, that's it. To sell tickets once again, that's basically it. Still, there are a lot of flaws remaining, many mentioned in the yes, because I actually wrote it in a video. Yeah, I placed it under the video where two guys are talking. I forgot their names, but yeah, I can also link. I might link that as well. So, yes, I don't want to offend anyone, but yeah, yeah, Star Wars is a myth, fairy tale. It's not realistic. So many people said it's more realistic. It's a fairy tale. Star Wars, that's correct. Star Wars is a fairy tale. It's not based on realism. No movie is based on realism. Okay, except maybe the World War II movies, but those are just movies. Okay, those are just movies. But this universe has limits, definitely. This new sequel trilogy storyline completely makes no sense. Obvious cash grab and paid critics. Yes, makes no sense. The prequels. Okay, now I'm gonna talk about the prequels and all of this, and yeah. So I think that's it for the flaws. Basically, there is more. So definitely, there are a lot of flaws with each scene. Basically, that Snoke doesn't even try to torture Rey by force lightning, or First Order generals or Captain Hux or General Hux completely incompetent the way they are. Kylo is acting also stupid because now he takes control of the First Order, but mm, why? It's it makes no sense. So the full movie is like a random mashup of everything, which tries to pretend Star Wars. So the prequels, why they had flaws. So they didn't have such and so many fundamental flaws. A casual movie watcher would like this movie because it doesn't care about the story. I can understand that, so that's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, so I explained this. Even okay, so let's talk about the Last Jedi Rey Force Vision. That also completely makes no sense, although I understand what it means. It means that she has to rely on herself. But the fact that she doesn't have parents, it makes no sense. So, I mean, she's a nobody. It's okay if she's a nobody. Only, I think it's still off. It's still off if she's a nobody because how can you relate to her? So if you check, okay, Palpatine was also more or less a nobody, but yeah, the main character should have a backstory, who he belongs to, at least. So there should be some sort of backstory. At least Anakin was told to be the child of the Force. Okay, and he had a mother. Rey has nobody. Rey has basically nobody. So why would anyone care about Rey's story? Sorry, I don't want to rage because I can, but okay. So I'm gonna calm down. So let's talk about the flaws. So basically, the issue I think with the sequel trilogy is that Disney puts money instead of story, politics and agendas, and they don't put effort into their storytelling. So just in one sentence. Also, the originals had flaws. Okay, the original also has flaws. You can check what's the name of it? You can check Cinema Sins. You can check what they collect. Actually, Cinema Sins collects a lot of flaws with the originals. Prequels also has them. Those are more perceived by the community because the issue is that it's always fun to hate on the prequels than on the originals. This has become a trend. Okay, so Yeah, it would have been nicer for George Lucas to start with the prequels, but there was no technology at that time. So I'm happy what we got though, because actually the prequels had world building, character development, Palpatine, Yoda, Mace Windu, Jedi Order, verbal new shapes, the fights, the Force battles. The Force was, you could see Force lightning in action, absorb, Force pull, grip, everything. Um, Politics, state of the galaxy. I really don't understand why anyone can hate politics. I mean, I understand that you hate politics because it's in real life, but the way that it was done, it didn't really bother me. But if you're not capable of understanding it, that's not a thing. So politics is still part of the life, even if you hate it. So it makes sense that um, it makes sense in the Star Wars universe to have politics in it. So in a civilized culture, advanced culture, there is. So okay, the prequels had issues. Okay, I agree. I agree in EOTC and the prequels. Some acting was not the most optimal, like Anakin's Padme love story. Anakin was not 100% dark Sith, but I think he did a good job at the end when he turned to the dark side. That was really well done. Um, the character development, I don't understand how anyone can say there was no character development. It made sense for him to turn Darth Vader in that way that they did it. His teenager years were that could have been better, but I can accept it. But I can see why some people hate that. But even Luke was like a whiny teenager. But look at Kylo. He is a whiny teenager, like just like Anakin was. So you don't like Anakin, but you like Kylo. Then it makes no sense again. Okay. So in the originals also Luke was a whiny kid, a bit more or less. Really, he was. If you check, he was a loser. He was completely trashed. Yes. So we didn't talk about that. Yeah, Rey doesn't go through any challenge either. So the only scene that I liked in the Last Jedi when Snoke was interrogating her. That was literally the only scene I liked, but I didn't. But Snoke wanted to just get um, information from Rey. He didn't try to like turn her to the dark side. He didn't see potential in her. He didn't. There was nothing. It would have made more sense for Snoke to try to turn Rey to the dark side. So at least I know it's a rehash also, but yeah, I don't. That was really. I liked it until that point when Snoke was killed, though. So that's probably the worst that I've ever seen in a villain. So okay, kills his true enemy makes no sense. You should have detected that easily. Okay, the Rogue One actually was good. The characters were forgettable, but I think it was still better. I'm not gonna go through those movies, so you can check. The originals also had flaws. Just please check it, Cinema Sins. The prequels, I just mentioned them, but I still like them because they are Star Wars. I don't I don't know why. After seeing the Last Jedi and TFA together, I think the prequels are masterpieces. Soundtrack wise, the soundtrack of the prequels is fantastic. You have Duel of the Fates, Battle of the Heroes, the droid, the soundtrack related to the droid movement, Palpatine's theme, remixed. So that's what I don't understand. Why they can't use? I'm gonna place a link for these two for sure because these are really good. So yeah, I could continue with the flows. So, but I think that's enough because this is already 1 hour. Sorry for the lot of talk. Maybe my voice is a bit annoying. I just wanted to point out why I didn't like this movie. Story-wise, it makes no sense that this does not belong to Star Wars. There is nothing explained. It just basically we did this, no explanation, and that's it. Okay, so yeah, we will see what happens in Episode 9. There is still a small chance to save Star Wars in Episode 9. You could still, it's still possible to make it interesting, but I don't think it's going to happen. Plus, Star Wars is already dead, but it's still possible to make out good stories. But better, I'm not really interested in episode 9 more or less, but I would waste time on other things. But yeah, so I think that's it. So if I have to say something more about the Last Jedi, then I'm gonna make one more video. But I think that's it for the time being. I have missed other things, but let me see. Yeah, also I didn't know Force Lightning should have been in this movie. Also, the Dark Side Lights were weak. Nothing was shown, basically. Nothing. Also this is again overpowered characters, not an underdog story. I totally agree with that as well. You can see a lot of reviews about this from different points. I try to just point out the lot of story elements that basically make so this all of this makes no sense. So makes no sense if you have a little of brain. I don't want to offend anyone. It makes no sense. But of course, if you don't care about the story, like you say that, just accept the movie. It's a movie, just a movie. Why do you nitpick everything? You know, the issue is that these are fundamental rules in Star Wars which got broken. Not so the prequels had issues, but those issues are not fundamental flaws. The issues that you have here are fundamental flaws in a movie. You know, if The Last Jedi was an anthology movie, again, I tell you, it would be a decent movie. If TFA, The Force Awakens, was a reboot, I also would have no problems with it. It would have been interesting to see that. But as episode 7 and 8, they basically make no sense. Okay, both of them, especially so. You know, I would if the Last Jedi would give more value to TFA, I would actually like The Force Awakens. You need to see a trilogy as one set, so, or overall, you know, thing. Even though the prequel movies, they are also standalone movies. As the the Force Awakens is not a standalone movie. The Last Jedi is also not a standalone movie. So, I mean, if you as a real movie, so as an anthology movie, it's okay. The spin-off anthology movie, they are both okay. Okay, so I'm not really interested in Episode 9, also the Han Solo movie so much. Um, yeah, so but I know that my childhood got ripped up maybe, but we will see what happens. Maybe I will watch Episode 9, but not I not don't have any expectations anymore. Yeah, the only way that you can stop this is just that you don't go to the cinemas and give Disney money, because they will, because you know the customer, the client is what drives the business, not the company. Okay, so that's it for the video. I'm gonna upload this. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry for the 1 hour bullshit talk. Okay, it's not a bullshit talk. I hope anyone who will understand this. I just wanted to go through this to because I was talking about this in a lot of interstate videos. Feel free to add anything in the comments. I'm gonna, if you notice other flaws, just write it to them to me. I think this I collected like 60% of the flaws, and the remaining 40. Even the CGI was not so good, I would say. The CGI and maybe some practical sets, and also some of them were messed up. So also the details of the ships and many things. Okay, so thank you guys for watching, and see you guys in the next video. This, yeah, a good play. This is a different play this time. I'm not sure yet. Okay, so if you want to bash on me, feel free to. So I can try to reply on that. So I can try to reply on that comment. Feel free to like it, dislike it, subscribe. Doesn't really matter to me. I just wanted to point out what I think about the movie and what my biggest issues are about this movie. I watched like 7 or 10 reviews for sure, and yeah. So okay, so that's it. Thank you again for watching. And one more thing, sorry. I appreciate anyone who likes this movie. I can totally see that as well. Why anyone would like this movie. So there is nothing wrong with a casual viewer watching this movie. So, but please have appreciation of those who hate this movie as well. So again, yeah. Thank you guys for watching.